Hello everyone, it's Jeff at High Fashion Sewing in Grand Junction, Colorado, and this month is the FTCU Club, and we're going to go through into stitch removal, the stitch tool, and we're going to show the save to sew features. So first off, we're going to have you watch two videos from Trevor Conquergood. So open up your software, go to your software club, sign in, and we're going to go into the tab that says blogs and news, go down to weekly video archive, and now we're going to select the video we want to watch. Give it a second here for the loading. The first one I'd like you to watch would be the save to sew feature on it, and the next one would be removing stitches. So watch those two first, then restart this video, and we'll go through some practice sessions. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close this. Now, we're going to remove stitches from underneath a design. So there's two different designs here, and I've removed the stitches here. And we're going to do that with the tool right over here. It's about the fifth one down. It's called the Stitch Tool. And you come down to the little bar below, we have a stitch edit or edit stitch, and we have a lasso. So we're going to be using both of those here in a minute. This is the advanced part, so we're going to start with baby steps. So I'm going to undo this, put that back where it was, and we're going to open, I want to have all you open up a new workspace. Let's undo. There we go. So I'm going to go up to this blue piece of paper or blue workspace and hit new, and it's going to open up a new tab for me. Now for our first lesson, we're going to go up into this green little shape thing. It's called custom shapes. Left click onto that, and let's open up the bear. So the bear, it's going to come in as a filled object or filled artwork. So we're going to uncheck the box that says fill and hit apply, and now we have an outline of the bear, and we're automatically in what we call the select mode. The select mode is what opens this box. So I want to add a row of stitches around here, and let's go ahead and add not the run motif. Let's add the steel stitch. So I'm going to left click to add a steel stitch, and it will represent the steel stitch around the bear there. Now, we're going to edit some of these stitches after we change the stitch width from 2.5 to 5 millimeters, and then we're going to change the corner type to round. So the only two things I want you to change is the stitch width to 5, the corner type to round. Once you've done that, this is selected, hit apply. So now we have a 5 millimeter stitch width on the border here, and if you look right around here by his little feet, things have rounded out because we chose it to be more round. Now to fit it exactly in our workspace, make sure it's highlighted and double click on the magnifier glass, and it'll put it exactly in your workspace, centered up. As I look here real close, there's some stitch areas that aren't exactly perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click once on my magnifying glass, bring it over, and I'll make a small box around this area. So I'm going to hold down and make the box and let go, and that's what the area looks like in close up. So in close up, I can drag each one of these points and make this little gap look pretty on that teddy bear. So I'm going to slide over here to my stitch. I'm going to slide down to and grab the edit stitch option. And now when I get close to any of these stitch points, a little dot shows up. So this dot, I'm going to hold down my left clicker and drop that stitch a little longer. I'm going to hold down that left clicker, drop that stitch a little longer. Hold down that left mouse clicker, hold it down and drop. All right, so I just changed those 4 or 5 stitches to fill in that area. I might grab this stitch right there and fill that area in too. Now, if I wanted to continue in this magnification, go up to these little arrows and left click on those little arrows, and it moves just a little bit. So far, that area looks good. I'm going to click to my right. Oh, there's another bad spot right in there. So I'm going to grab that stitch point, make it longer, that stitch point. I'm going to grab this stitch point, center him a little better. And if I go down a little bit, I'm going to move that one just a fraction. Oops, I moved him the wrong way. All right, so there we go. We got that area done. So I'm going to click over. This looks good. That ear looks good. I'm going to click downward a little bit. And then click over to the left. That point, maybe just a fraction. All right, and I also know I'm going to look at this in normal size again, so I'm going to double click the magnifier, puts it into normal size. And I'm going to go to the select mode. That's this red arrow on top, so when I'm clicking on things, I know exactly what's going to happen. So I want to see if this area here in his armpit area looks good. So I'm going to take my magnifying glass, one left click on it, draw a little bitty box in that area, and I'm going to go back to my select tool. I'm going to move that stitch out just a little bit, move that stitch out just a little bit. Okay, now that just cleaned up that point just a little bit. So double click on the magnifying glass, and now I'm going to go to my select tool again and go down to 3D. This is going to look like when it's sewn out. So that looks excellent. So now we got a nice smooth rounded point teddy bear, and you could save that and sew it out. You could add another design in the middle. You could add eyes and nose if you so desired. So this is how you select a stitch by stitch correction to an item. So I thought, well, that's a pretty good idea. Now, how else can we use this tool? So I'm going to erase that design, and I'm going to bring in a text, and I'm going to convert a ordinary text to something fancy. So I'm going to go to my new work area, and you can use this red T or this T over here. So I'm going to hit text tool, and a little A is attached to my mouse cursor. So I'm going to left click on the area, and I want you guys to go to fonts, select all fonts, and go in and select A font and hit apply. And it still has my text in here. I'm going to use that to modify a little bit. Now we're still in the mode with the text mode because the little A is attached to my cursor. Go up to the select mode and select it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit my double magnifying glass so it fits my whole screen area, work area, and I'm going to put little serifs or little wide tops on these couple letters. I'm going to show you how to do that stitch by stitch. So we're going to take our magnifying glass, we're going to make a little teeny box and get our stitch tool, and I'm going to take that first stitch, make a little serif there, and I'm making them a little shorter each time so they angle down. So I'm doing 4 stitches there. If you do 4 stitches on one side, you better do 4 stitches on the other. It'll look funny if you don't. So I'm just growing those out. Now if I want to do the other part of the M, because there it is, so I'm going to do 4 over here. And this is just by guess. I mean, you could get exact on it, but it's just a little manipulation on a design. So I'm going to grab this guy, I'm going to bring him over, drop it. So I grab hold of that little, I hover over the tip, and then I grab hold of that little dot and drag and drop. Okay, now I want to see the bottom, so I'm going to just go down, hold down there. I'm going to put little serifs on the bottom also. So, and you can see the point. I mean, you can actually modify any font, and now that you've modified it, it's your font. If you wanted to put it on packing materials or publicized materials, it's your font now because you have made it different. So I'm just going to move each one of these. There's another dot here I need to move. Another dot. So if there's a start and stop point, sometimes there's more than one. So there's my little serifs. So you get the point. I'm going to go back to the double magnifier glass, and let's just magnify the changes I made compared to the way it looks on the Y, and hit 3D. And there you see the little serifs I've built on each one of those. So you can go any way you like. If you like it wider in the middle here, you can change. So this was a normal one, was on the Y, and then you see the serifs there. Now, let's do some modification in the 3D mode. Sometimes it's easier to see your stitches if you're in the 3D mode. So I'm going to hit the double magnifier glass, and I'm going to do the modifications on the Y in 3D mode. I'm going to click the magnifier once and make my little box right there. Whoops, see what happened? I must not have been in the magnifying mode. Okay, so here's the top of the Y, but now it looks like rope, or it's actually their threads. So I'm going to go to my Stitch tool, select it. Now I'm going to grab, these are the mistakes I made last time, and I don't like that at all, so I'm going to undo. So now I'm going to grab my points and start making my serifs. So anytime you select a tool by accident, like I just did there, you can use that undo tool and it's your friend. So I'm going to, no, if I don't, I'm going to move this guy. There must be more than one point there. Move that point. Move this one out a little bit. So now I'm going to do the other part of the Y. And sometimes when you're doing editing in the 3D mode, it could run your computer really slow because it's using a lot of extra resources to draw that picture. So you usually want to do your editing in the normal mode. Okay, I'm going to go to normal sizing, and let's do the magnifier once, and we're just going to see what the MY looks like. So there we go. That's what it's going to look like. So I can see a neat application of doing stitch by stitch and modifying a font, you know, maybe make your name in a specialty font that is only your name. So it's kind of cool to be able to do that. Now let's do the advanced version. I'm going to go ahead and close this so my computer runs faster. And for the advanced version, I went ahead and went to my library of shapes. So I found this wreath and I found these flowers. So I am going to go ahead and hit Control A, and that's going to select everything. And I'm going to hit the delete key on my keyboard. Now I've got an open space. I know that the wreath was in my libraries, and it was in March of 2019. And I'm going to go from there. It was, you want to make sure you don't select the JPEG, the JPG file. You want the WAF file. So I'm going to grab that. I'm going to erase the ABC out of the middle in a minute. So now for the butterfly, I'm going to go to my library, go to May of 2019, and then go to Designs. And here's the butterfly. So here's the WAF butterfly. Drop that onto my workspace. Click on my workspace, and now we go there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to my sequence view and select the ABC in the middle, and I can right-click, delete, or I can hit the delete key on my keyboard. So now that deleted the ABCs, but I've still got the A attached to my cursor. I'm going to go to select mode. So now I got a normal cursor again. You always got to remember where you're at. Click on the butterfly. We brought these in. We made sure we did not select the convert to outline. So you want to keep these all in the normal mode as they were built for this to work out right. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking this butterfly and the two flowers, and this lower flower I'm kind of centering in the wreath. So we've got the butterfly overlapping the wreath, and if I show you how it sews out, it's going to sew out everything, even that full stitch count underneath the flowers and the butterfly. The goal today is to erase those stitches or delete those stitches that are underneath this area here so it won't be so dense. And the way Trevor showed us how to do it was we are going to select that part of the wreath, which is right here, and first off we are going to kind of draw a little line around there so we know how much to cut out. So I'm going to go up to my green pencil, and I am going to hold down my control key and start clicking around here. So I know what area is going to be needed to be removed. So once I'm done with my clicking, I'm going to bring this out to a clean area and right click. And now I've got a little piece of artwork. I'm going to go to the select mode. The artwork is selected. I'm going to turn it into a run stitch, because when we select these two items, they have to be stitches. So I am going to come down here and touch on the run stitch, hold down my control key, and then slide up to the right hand wreath, click on that. So I've selected the run and the wreath. Now this is a brand new thing that I didn't know until today. Was I'm going to right click onto here and I'm going to say hide other. It's going to hide everything that is not selected. And by hiding everything that's not selected, we can delete the area we have circled. So now that we have that area defined, I am going to go over to my lasso tool in the Stitch tool. And you have to start the lasso tool outside the stitch area. If you try to start it inside, it reacts funny. So I am holding down my left mouse, and I'm just drawing around roughly the area there. And when I close the area, it has selected all those stitch points. You can see they're in like a grayish pink. Now that they're selected, I'm going to go to my keyboard and hit delete. And now I have deleted the area that I want to not have stitch underneath. I'm going to go back to my select mode, and I'm going to go on any one of these items in my sequence view, right click and say show all. And now that has come right back, all the other items. I do not want that stitch line or artwork anymore, so I'm going to select it, hit the delete key, select it, hit the delete key, and now we have a wreath with the butterfly on top. And if I move this butterfly off to the side, you can witness that there is no stitches underneath there, so it's going to stitch out with a whole lot less density. Now if I want that exactly back to where it was, undo is your friend. And that's right there. So that's how you remove overlapping stitches on items that have multiple stitch items and shapes. Otherwise, you can remove overlapping stitches on two shapes at a time. And if you do that with all those different colors, each color is a shape, it could take you all day. So this is a nice little trick that Trevor has shown us on his tip of the week. And remember, if you have any questions, comments, please contact me at P as in Peter, V as in Victor, LEFTY @AOL.com, or you can go to my website. It is www.floriani, fashiongjj.com. I also have a Shopify website now that you can buy all my tools and gadgets from, and that is it's Bernina-Jeff.myshopify.com. And all my favorite tools and gadgets are on there, and you can buy it directly off of there. So thank you very much. Remember to subscribe, and happy sewing. Thanks.